If you want to quit drinking, start creating. Click through. See what I'm on about here. Read the description. All the information is in the description. Lance. Lance, you're the only person I know right now who might, well, there are others I'm acquainted with who might appreciate what I'm about to show you. But I think you'll definitely get it. So, check this out, Lance. I had to look up I had to make sure that I'm using the proper terms to describe what I'm after here. So, I used the good old AI assistant in Brave browser to help me make sure that I'm clear on my terms. All right. So I've been working on this gorilla in the corner of the room. This is the big mix. There's also a smaller one. This is the extended with guitar solo, minute and 10-second long guitar solo interlude in the middle, and pretty long outro section, right? And as I told you, I'm going for the sound of a extremely loud band on a big sound stage, where the microphones being used to capture the performance are getting pushed to the extreme. Put it that way. I'm after something quite specific with this, all right? And so, you and I have known each other a long time. You probably know that I see not only colors in sound, but textures, and sound is a very visual thing for me. And so every time I take this mix down to the Veloster and I road test it, right, I'm getting happier and happier with it. But there's one thing that keeps bothering me, especially when I go into the EQ settings and I put it into the there's 3 settings in that car, right? There's like the normal setting, and then there's the middle setting, which is enhanced bass. I forget what it's called. The 3rd setting is like the theater setting. I forget what that's called too, but it's got like more crossovers and separation, and a touch of reverb on it. And I've noticed, especially in the, so I use those settings to check my mixes, obviously. And you've had that car. Yeah, I got that car from you, so you know what I'm talking about, right? And so especially in the 2nd and 3rd settings, there is in the trebles, high mid-range up into the trebles, there's a jaggedness. Okay, it's got this chrome burnish on it, but there's pits and burrs. So I typed in, if I apply a compound to a metal surface to remove pits and burrs, what is that process called? Okay, so I get, based on the provided search results, process of removing pits and burrs from a metal surface to make it smooth and glossy is referred to the deburring, referred to as deburring or burr removal. So, now, I said to you, check out this toolkit. And apparently you looked into it. I don't know to what extent you looked into it. Airwindows Consolidated Toolkit, but you sent back a remark is that that is a hell of a toolkit. All right. But again, I don't know how much detail you really looked into it, but check this out, man. Okay, so every time I take it down to the car, to the Veloster, and I road test it, I'm like, yeah, man, it's got pits and burrs. It's shiny. It's too shiny. For one thing, it's too shiny, and it's got pits and burrs. It's just, so it needs deburring. And matting. It needs matting. All right. So tonight I found one tool in that toolkit. I was going to take it in two stages. Tonight I sat down to see if I couldn't find the right tool for deburring. It's just a curious problem because I don't need more burnishing. It's already burnished, but it's kind of, I guess it's kind of like an old chrome bumper that's still burnished, but it's got some pits and burrs from the weather, whatnot. Too much salt water in the air, right? After a few years. Anyways, so it's okay. I was going to try to find a deburring tool in this toolkit, and then a matting tool, and I got both in one. Now, here's the thing, Lance. I don't want to go about this. This is in the 2 bus. This is in the mix bus, the master whatever you call it, the mix bus. I have a policy of I don't do EQ at that stage. I don't want to use EQ. As you guys, this is digital audio. I already have all kinds of I've got measures in place for anti-aliasing. All right. I've got measures in place to I've got ultra high sonic filters in place to take care of aliasing, distortion, minimize that. Right. But I don't want to. I still at that late stage in the signal chain, I don't want to introduce anything that's going to compromise the measures that are already in place to nip that kind of thing in the bud, right? So I don't want to use any EQ. All right. And like EQ is a kind of filtering, right? So even filtering. That's why this toolkit is so remarkable, because it has things in it. It has tools in it that enable one to accomplish things like this without the use of things like EQ. Now, I don't understand the technical intricacies of this, but you might. You're way smarter than I am with that kind of stuff. So check this out without further ado. Hang on a second. Control Alt Delete. I do need to go into my task manager, and I need to kill the browser. Because this is a big project and I've got half the tracks frozen, but I'm still loading the CPU pretty heavily. So, and I got Camo Studio and OBS Studio running. So I'm pushing it here. All right. Anywho, Lance, check it out. Here's a tool. So here's my master bus. And here is Air 4, which is enabling me to get rid of any overslew. This is the meter. This is a mastering tool that I'm learning how to use. As you can see, we've got bright, sonority, and dark. I'm trying to find ways to increase the ratio of darkness. And I still haven't cracked that nut. All right. I'm shooting for brightness to average around 20%, sonority around 80%. For reference, like you run like Smashing Pumpkins, Siamese Dream through like Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, and most of the sort of signature sound from those albums, we're looking at like sonority 90 to 100, brightness 0 to 10, and dark is pretty much always at 0. Okay. I like my sonority, as a general rule, sonority 80, brightness 20. Although sometimes I often get up into the 90s in sonority. All right, so, but here is, okay, so I'm going to bypass, again, this Air 4, it has other uses, but I'm using it to cut off any overslew. Now, this is also, I consider this to be, so this is rough deburring, right? But check it out. Maybe that's not right, but it's a deburring of sorts, I suppose. But just look at the meter when I bypass Air 4. Now, okay, CPU, little glitching there, but see the vertical red lines here? See here where it says overslew? Now I turn on Air 4 and all overslew is gone with no bypass.
But I have had enough to hear with all the fake ass laws. I'm nothing.
All right. So, very cool. Now, here's what I have. Now, you heard it with the new tool already in the chain, so I'm going to disengage that. And that is under the saturation category, saturation, focus. This tool right here, focus. And, if you read the blurb, let me see. Through anything. I'm going to pause real quick while I find the passage that I want to call attention to. All right. Well, the sentence that I thought I remembered being in here, I can't find it. It had to do with energy talk, okay? Sort of redistribution or reallocation of energy. I'm just going to go ahead and read through this blurb. You might be listening to this while you work in your shop or doing something else, so maybe this will just give you a good listen. And you'll probably understand it a lot better than I do. Focus. Saturation, focus. Focus brings out clarity by distorting. Aggressive, subtle, flexible. Focus creates two audio paths. One of them a bandpass and the other everything but the bandpass. Then you distort what's in the bandpass, which will help the result avoid aliasing even if you're not at high sample rates. The reference to Unbox, that's another tool, Unbox, which I use. The reference to Unbox is because I wrote that one first and then extended it into Focus. Here's the original post. What if you took Unbox, which with its aliasing resistant distortion, and revised it around a bandpass? Not so much an EQ thing, more a Fletcher-Munson loudness curve thing, where you could zero in on just that most sensitive area and add distortion to just that. And use the Unbox tech so you'd still have undistorted, clear super lows and highs as much as you wanted. And set an output level so that if you did end up driving the mids real hard, you could dial it back so that you got your focusing effect, but without apparent mids boost. Or mids boost if you like, whichever. And a dry wet on the end for added subtlety and flexibility. And then, how about if you could pick between density, drive, spiral, mojo, and dyno distortion algorithms? Here's focus. If you keep the focus control real low, it'll act like a broad-based overdrive 5 different ways. Kill the output level control, and you'll hear what's left over from the Unbox tech. Start to bring up focus to about halfway, and you will rapidly start narrowing the distortion band and letting through lots more lows and highs, while also, parentheses, if you turn output back up, while also tightening and purifying what you distort in the mids. Focus even more, and you'll get to where it's an ultra-focused mid-laser that you can distort, that'll cut through anything. If you want to start tuning it, dial focus back. This is not about that. It's exactly targeting the Fletcher-Munson loudness curves. Think of it in terms of focusing the mid-range and making it more intense. At low focus settings, tuning it would be almost meaningless. This is Dial and Ultimate Distortion ITB. Even more than the Swiss Army knife one I'll likely still make later. This becomes the recommended one. It replaces density, drive, all versions of spiral, etc. Because its principle of operation gives you essential Airwindows distortions, using Unbox tech to resist aliasing and allow for clean bass. And because the way it's set up, you can immediately go to whatever you're trying to achieve. Big roaring fuzzy, density with very low focus, or possibly mojo. Gritty, drive. Cleaner overdrive, spiral. Need to clean things up but still have that pungent, fierce energy. There's that word, energy. From an amazing distortion. Start increasing focus carefully. Trying to do an insanely focused, searing hot distortion with high focus, but things are too saturated, reach for dyno and its distinctive overtones. Pretty much anything you want in one plugin but with very approachable controls. Plus, you can do things like kill output level to quickly check how much clean audio is getting through in the highs and lows. Okay, right here. Don't think of it like an EQ. Think of it like an extension of your ears. Whether it's on tracks, submixes, or the two-bus, Focus can locate anything accurately in your listener's attention because we all have the same sensitivities and loudness curves to our hearing, most likely. Use with caution unless you don't want to, and enjoy a real power tool for mix clarity with Focus. See, Chris always, after all the technical explanations, he dumbs it down for me. His name is Chris. He lives in Vermont. He's a Vermonter. Okay, so that's the blurb. And that last paragraph is kind of what it's that kind of paragraph that gets my ears pricked up. I understood, some of what he's talking about in the explanation, but so with that, having gone through that, look at what I've got, what I've done here, and let me pause it for a second. I'll be right back. All right, for some reason the tool got somehow reset to default settings, so I had to go back and remember what I had done. So here's what I'm going to do. The tool is engaged right here. Okay, Focus. So I'm going to start playback, and then I'm going to just play around with the knobs and let you hear kind of the differences that are occurring, and then I'm going to dial in my setting, and then I'm going to A/B the setting. All right, here we go. Oh, let me just restart meter here, and Mojo, Dino, Mojo, Spiral, Drive, Density, Drive,
But I have had enough to
Density.
deal with all the
I'm working with
fake
density.
ass laws. I'm nothing but a walking case of problems.
Start by twisting output.
This world ain't nothing but
All right,
designed to chew up our
there's output.
and spit it in.
Just take output to like 0.5.
My escape, they
So, and then play with Focus.
pauses that gorilla. He's in the corner of the room.
You understand what's going on here?
That gorilla in the corner of the room.
All right, and then obviously boost. All right, so I'll go to the setting that I found, the sweet spot that I found was output about 37.37. Focus.
Time I lost a piece of my mind to a flash of sunlight.
0.75.
Rendered me blind. I surely would have lost my way, but for
Boost.
some friends who were kind enough to lead me back along the labyrinth.
5.
Left behind still when I'm groping for my keys. The only thing I
Right
seem
there.
to find is that gorilla
Now.
in the corner of the room.
Let's look at meter while I A/B this. All right, so that's bypassed. Again, engaged. So I'll just toggle it on and off. You can see me doing it right here. it's going to become really apparent what it does here in the solo. All right, we're going into the bridge. You hear that organ sound? Hear how it gets tamed? It's really good glue.
Sometimes he tries to laugh, but it just comes out of room, 'cause he remembers the garden well.
But this is going to become whoops. There. Listen to how it takes the burrs off and the pits out. Now, the solo section, you can really hear what it brings right here. Okay, I just took focus up to about 80. To make the matting a little bit less pronounced. Right there. Listen. Now, look at meter. It's not, nothing is being changed on meter, and check it out. Check out the decibel meter. Here, I'll reset the peak. Alright, so right now peaking around minus 3.5. Bypass.
I just been chasing dancing cats across a hot tin roof.
Okay, now it's peaking minus 2.7. Engage. Alright, so it is. Bypass. See if it starts peaking higher. It's not really, doesn't seem to be peaking any higher when I bypass it. And you can see that up here on the meter, the top band of dots. Right, so it's giving me my deburring and my matting without attenuation. It's amazing. Okay, here's the outro solo. What I'm listening for right now is, am I losing detail? There's a lot of texture and a lot of detail here. I'm losing a tiny bit, but not much, man. Like, it's acceptable. Phenomenal. And now right before this is Zoom, which is peak energy modulation distortion. Zoom might be better to put Zoom after Focus. Just real quick, I'm going to go back and A/B Zoom. So Zoom bypass. Very subtle, but Zoom gives it just a little bit more zing.
But I have had enough to hear with all their fake ass laws. I'm nothing but a walking case of problems.
More presence, more presence.
Sometimes I see this world ain't
Now,
nothing but a set of deadly
focus.
jaws designed to chew up our perfection and spit it into flaws. When I am plotting my escape, the only thing that gives me pause is that gorilla in the corner of the room.
Yeah, now, Focus, the A/B is a bit more subtle now. So I might take output down a little bit more. Output down to like 30.
Time I lost a piece of my mind to a flash of summer lightning almost renders me blind. I surely would have lost my way before some.
There we go. So I had to tweak the output a little bit after, since moving it before Zoom. Now I'll bypass both of them. Okay, so now I'll turn on Focus. Now Zoom. Okay. I think that's about the sweet spot right there. So that is using Focus to deburr and for deburring and matting. Just taking the edge off that digital treble brightness and slight jaggedness. Time to mix it down and take it down to the car again. Anyway, Lance, I hope at least you could maybe find time to at least listen to this while you're working on other things. And for anyone else out there who's interested, I don't know. I'm part of the Airwindows community now. I know that there are others out there that would be interested to see this Airwindows workflow kind of thing, but I don't know. I can't exactly advertise it in the live stream chat when Chris is coding, but anyway, just going to keep putting these out there. This is Mixer's log number 2. I'll call it deburring and matting with Airwindows Focus. And so, Lance, man, it is a hell of a toolkit. And I hope you dig it. It's good to be back in touch with you again. Over and out.